they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me. Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me. Didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to come on and do my bullying story because a lot of people do reach out and share with me their experiences with bullying, how it's kind of affecting them, and my heart really does go out to you guys. That's a really soft spot for me. I strongly believe that no one on earth deserves to be bullied ever for any reason, for any amount of time. It's just the most awful thing. So I wanted to come on and sort of share my story just to let you know that it does get better and just sort of give you a little bit of like encouragement through that. I want you guys to know that like each and every one of you is special, beautiful, smart, talented, loved. I'm a Christian. I believe God creates each and every one of us intentionally and with love and with purpose. So don't ever feel like you're a mistake. Don't ever feel like your life is a burden. You are 100% a blessing, and I want you guys to know that. I mean that like from the bottom of my heart. My memories of being bullied go all the way back to like kindergarten. And I get that it may sound weird to say that like I was bullied in kindergarten, but I truthfully was. So I am an immigrant. We came here from Nigeria when I was like 11 months old. And you know, when you're really little, most of your time is spent with your parents. And my parents had really thick accents back then, and they still do have accents. So because they were the people that I was learning English from and talking to most of the time, I did kind of pick up some of their little colloquialisms and a little bit of their accent going into kindergarten. And so to the kids, it sounded like I was mispronouncing words. The one that sticks out in my memory like a sore thumb is that instead of the, T-H-E, the, I used to say D, because that's like the Nigerian accent. That's how they say the is D, D, D. So I used to say that. And the kids used to make fun of me so much for doing that. Like I got teased so much. There was one girl in particular who really went out of her way to make sure that she tried to make me as miserable as possible. And I just remember just being laughed at, sitting off to the side by myself, not being included in games and activities and stuff like that. And it was really painful for me. And then first grade, it kind of continued. I had something happen with my scalp where I had to cut all my hair off. And so I was bald headed pretty much. And I just know that that did not go over well at all. I got made fun of all the time, nonstop for my hair. I felt super self-conscious. I felt like a boy. I didn't like the way I looked, and it was just really sad. And I know it's first grade, but when I tell you I remember this like it was yesterday, it was that painful of a memory. I stayed at that school until 6th grade. And when I went to my middle school and high school, it was like a K through 12 Quaker school, and I did middle school and high school there, and I went there for 7th grade. I remember I was so terribly shy that I spent like at least a month where I didn't speak to anyone. I didn't say a single word. Bar bat mitzvahs were huge deals, super fun parties, and I never got invited to any. I didn't really fit in. Like I had a couple friends eventually, but like we were the kids who weren't cool. They called us readers, basically. I remember we had like homeroom after school, and I was sitting in homeroom, and this kid, he was one of like the cool kids or whatever, one of the kids who had been there since forever. He came up to me and he was like, "So who do you like in the grade?" And I was like, "I don't really like anyone, like whatever," because I didn't really like anyone. And so they kept pressuring me to answer the question. I was like, "Well, everyone says so-and-so is like the best looking guy in the grade, so I guess he's the best looking guy in the grade." Like that's literally what I said. And he was like, "Ha ha ha, he would never like you. That's so sad. You're so ugly. He would never like you." And I just remember I cried on the spot. Like I just felt so small in that moment. It hurt my feelings so much. Like, oh, I just remember crying so hard. That was the kind of thing that like would happen on a regular basis. There was one kid in particular who kind of made it his mission to tell me I was ugly every single day. Like every chance he got, he wanted to tell me how ugly I was. And I remember one day we were playing basketball, and I said something to the kid we were playing against, and he was like, "Oh, that's fine. Just tell her how ugly she is. Just tell her she's ugly. Just tell her she's ugly." And I just remember just being so fed up and so sad. And I went home and I was just crying. Like I was crying and crying. And my dad was like, "What's wrong? Like, why are you crying?" And I was like, "Dad, this kid at school, like he's always calling me ugly." In true Nigerian form, the first thing he said was, "Is that why you're crying? Come. That is not a big thing. Come." And so I came and he sat me down. He said, and I'll never forget it. He said to me, "You have the final say on who and what you are. You should never give that power to anyone else. You decide what you are. You decide that you're beautiful. You decide that you're smart. You decide that you're talented. You decide that you have what it takes. You decide that, and you make it up in your mind, and you never, ever, ever let anyone tell you otherwise. You never let what anyone else says, good or bad, to sway you on what you already know that you are. That, when I tell you, like, completely changed my entire life, my entire mindset. I was just looking at myself and really starting to appreciate me the way God made me, and starting to see the beauty in myself, starting to build that confidence up within myself. Interestingly enough, the next year, 8th grade, we all came back to school, and the kid who was calling me ugly every single day of 7th grade decided that he really liked me and like wanted to date me, liked me pretty much all the way up until we graduated high school. Like, so I mean, the only reason I tell you that thing that he liked me at the end of the day is just to tell you that, like, people change, their opinions change. You would have thought that this guy felt like I was the ugliest girl he'd ever seen, and he would go to the grave feeling that way. But the very next year, he decided that, like, I was the prettiest girl he had ever seen, and he wanted to date me. Like, people change all the time, and it's really important to not have your self-esteem or your self-worth wrapped up in the whims of other people. Like, that's the whole point of this, is like, I remember the things that I got teased for so much in high school and middle school are the things that people comment and compliment me about all the time now. Like, I used to get teased for my eyebrows. My eyebrows have always been really bushy. And back when I was in middle school, thin brows were in. I used to overpluck, I used to shave. I used to buy the eyebrow shavers from the beauty supply store and just religiously like pluck and shave and pluck and shave. And like, now people are asking me, how do you get your eyebrows to be so full? Oh my gosh, what do you do to your eyebrows? And I'm like, they're just like that. There was a time where I hated them and people made fun of me for them. And now they're in, and everybody wants eyebrows like this. I used to get made fun of for my hips all the time in school. Like, I would just walk by and I would hear boys whispering, like, why are her hips like that? Like, why are her hips so wide? Like, oh my gosh, her hips are so wide. It's so weird. And now, like, hips are in and everybody loves hips, and like, that's the thing that people compliment me about all the time, is like, oh my gosh, you have such a nice shape. You have such a nice shape. And it's like, that's all nice that I kind of grew into myself and these things just happen to be in now. But like, even if I had grown up and, you know, the trends never really came around to the way that I looked, right? It's like, I needed to learn very early on that my self-esteem needs to be rooted in myself, not in others, not in what other people think, not in trends, whether or not they come around. And the important thing is to have your self-esteem not rooted in what other people say, whether it's good or bad. I know it's hard. I know high school and middle school literally feel like they'll never end. I want to encourage you to just take it one step at a time. Take it a day at a time. If you can't take it a day at a time, take it a class at a time. Take it one moment at a time. Just take it one step at a time. Pick up hobbies that you really, really like and make you happy. I remember in high school, I took up photography. That was something that made me so happy. And it was a really great way to just walk around, take pictures. And it was a really great time to like think and work things out in my own head. So I really, really loved that. I did theater in high school. I did sports in high school. And then when I stopped doing sports, I managed the girls basketball team because I really loved girls basketball, but it wasn't something that I could really continue doing. So managing allowed me to still feel like I was part of the team without the full-on commitment of being a player on the team. So work with the adults around you, the teachers and stuff like that, and see what you can kind of figure out to make yourself as happy as possible wherever you find yourself. I wanted to come on and share because the amount of messages I get from girls who are just having friend drama, having drama at school, just not having a good experience is overwhelming. And so I wanted to reach out and let you guys know that I have been through it and I came out on the other side much stronger, much happier, a much better person. It's not the worst bullying situation ever. Again, like, I grew up when social media was just beginning. I grew up in like the MySpace age, so it wasn't the way it is now. It wasn't as ubiquitous as it is now, but I just want you guys to know that like, it gets better. Take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and reach out to the people around you who definitely love you. So I hope you guys enjoyed and found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check the description for my other links and stuff. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to see more videos like this. I love you guys so much and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye. Never, ever let anyone tell you otherwise. You never let what anyone else says, good or bad, to sway you on what you already know that you are. Ruined a perfectly good moment there.